The Great British High Street is an institution in all of our lives that serves us from when we get our first pair of shoes to when we get balloons for our 80th birthday. I'm Martin Newman and I'm a customer experience champion. And I want to put you, the customer, at the heart of our nation's shopping experiences. Today, I'm in sunny Glasgow. I'm talking to customers because I want to find out what really matters to them so that we can work out what we need to do to fix the British High Street. Do you shop online and offline?
Yes.
Yeah? You do both?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would buy only online or only offline?
Makeup, really? Yeah.
Christmas presents, really, that's about it.
Christmas presents?
I'm not a great online shopper.
You're not a great online shopper. Why is that, just out of curiosity?
I don't like buying clothes or anything online.
So makeup, which channel would you buy that?
Online, because you don't get everything in the stores.
What would make you go to the high street?
To see the physical items.
To see the item, yeah.
Yeah,
Match up
probably.
infinite.
What about yourself?
Oh, I'm the opposite. I prefer shopping online.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Even for clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Oh, I just prefer not to have to interact with people.
Right,
I don't
okay.
like how busy it is and stuff like that.
Yeah. And is there anything about the service in store that annoys you or frustrates you? Queues.
Sometimes there's never enough staff.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
It's a common complaint,
yes,
isn't it?
You
Yeah.
go to the checkouts and there's long queues.
Long
not enough
queues to check
staff.
out, yeah. Have you ever found yourself in store going to buy something and actually abandoning your basket
Yeah.
because there's been so many people in
Yeah,
front of you?
yeah.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah,
literally
putting the
abandoned it and
items
just
down
gone?
yes.
Really?
Yes, I have
Crazy,
done that
isn't
in
it?
the past.
Hello. Do you have any exclusive men's trainers?
What sort? Like a
Well,
casual trainer? Or?
Yeah, just anything I can't get anywhere else.
I'm not sure, to
No.
be honest. I'm probably having a little search for something that's...
He's left a shoe.
Do you know if we've got any men's trainers that are like exclusive to shoes?
While she's finding out, what's the proposition for buying online and everything? Do you know?
Our delivery service online is more or less, it can just depend on your sort of like your local service, but it's normally like a couple working days, 2 to 3 working days.
Right. And you do click and collect?
Yeah, we do click and collect. You can always check the stock levels and see all the stores in Glasgow, and you can reserve them, so you can just come in, keep them aside online, come in, give your name.
And what's the returns proposition?
You've got full year, so
Full year.
as long as
Alright,
it's obviously in the same condition and you haven't worn them outside, you are totally fine to pop them back in
Cool.
and get your full refund, full money back, swap them for something else.
Fantastic.
It's pretty flexible.
All right. So here I am in Buchanan Street in Glasgow, and I've just been into the shoe store, SCHUH, arguably one of the best footwear retailers in the UK. Had a pretty good experience engaging with a colleague in there. She certainly had great knowledge of all the multi-channel ways that I could engage with Shoe as a customer. The one thing I found a little bit disappointing is that none of the staff seemed to know whether or not there were any exclusive products. And given that Shoe is in the fashion space, first of all, I would have thought they would have some exclusive merchandise and certainly give their colleagues the opportunity to find out whether or not they had any exclusive styles that I might try on. The other thing I think where there's some room for improvement is around visual merchandising. I felt that they could do a better job of talking about new products and new styles that were in, bestsellers, and really get me engaged with the products in store. Overall, I'd give Shoe 7 out of 10 as a customer experience. There's a little bit of room for improvement. Hello. I have an iPhone at the moment and I'm kind of keen to try something else.
Yeah, sure. Do you get
I'm bored of it.
phone in mind?
No, what would you recommend?
So look at the Huawei. The camera on this is phenomenal.
It's brilliant. Yeah, better than the iPhone.
I've just seen that.
I don't know, I think yours is alright.
That's it, better.
I'm not convinced about that. What other alternatives? Yeah.
So it's S10 and the S10 Plus.
So what would the main difference be between that and my iPhone then? Any idea? Or?
I'm not really sure, but I can find out. I mean,
Oh, don't
I'm
we?
an iPhone myself.
Oh, yeah, sure. No, I understand.
I've just started in there, so that's
Right.
how I'm normally
Ah,
get
that's
one
okay.
of the guys if I
No
can't
problem.
get questions.
So what about O2 as a network then compared to...
Really good actually. I can tell you that because
okay.
I was with 3 before I started
Right.
working here and I changed them over to O2. Just
Better
because
coverage now, or...?
better coverage. I wasn't really getting the coverage with 3.
And how much is that package? How much is that package?
It starts off at £50 per month. Depends. See, to be fair, I can't really give you prices on here with the system because on the system it could be different.
And do you know what the international capabilities? In other words, if I'm on holiday and
Whereabouts do you normally go?
well, for business I go to the States quite a lot.
Guys, see the S10 Plus? The customers think about taking that out, right? Would you be able to use the S10 Plus on O2 in the States? Well, that's a new thing, isn't it? That's at the boat, is that a remark?
It's kind of like a bolt-on that you add on.
And can you select the zones that you want it for, or
No, it's just like a general thing. You still be able to use the boat anyway.
I wouldn't be able to use that internationally because with 3 at the moment, there's certain like when I go to States, I can use all my data over there. Basically,
Yeah, we have kind of promotions for that with like the SIM cards and that sort of stuff.
Right.
Just the SIM themselves, but we don't have that on
Okay.
just now.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
That'd be quite important to me, but anyway, okay. All right. Thanks for your help. I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Cheers. I've just been into the O2 store to check out their customer experience. I'm currently a 3 customer, and I have to say, as a customer experience, I always feel pretty positive about it. I thought I would go into O2 and find out what it would be like if I were to switch, what the alternative plans were, whether they could offer me the same package as I have with 3, which is where I've got all I can consume data. With 3, I also know the countries that I can use that data in, and I found that really the product information or the insight around the alternative plans or finding the alternative plans that were similar to the one that I have with 3 wasn't really that great. So I found it a bit confusing, and I find that that's one of the issues with telcos generally, is that the products are quite complicated, the plans are complicated, and there must be a way of simplifying it and giving you more trust as a consumer that you're getting the right solution for you. As a customer experience, I'd give them 4 out of 10. I think there's quite a lot of room for improvement. Have you got anaesthesia Beverly Hills here?
We don't, I'm afraid. It's
You don't?
Kind of, do you know Space NK? Is it
Yes.
in Sphere? That's where it does that.
Oh, they do them, right, okay. What would be an alternative if I was looking for a gift for my daughters? Any alternative brand you could recommend?
Cat 1D probably. Do you know what it was we were looking for?
No, I mean, I get them everything wherever I travel. So I'm originally from Glasgow, I live in London now, so.
Cat 1D.
Cat 1D. And is that available online on the website?
Yeah,
as well?
it's straight down the end as
Straight
well.
down.
Or do you want me to take you down?
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Thank you. That'd be great. Appreciate it. Right, okay.
Cat 1D.
Ah, right, okay. All right. Do you do any little kits? Do you have like any sort of gift bags with multiple products together, that kind of idea?
We do have the contour palette, which is a good seller.
What is it? Contour palette?
Contour palette, so
Right.
all your face, basically.
Yeah.
And
just in terms of the returns policy, I mean, if it's
as long as it's not, it can be opened, but as long as it's not been touched.
not been touched.
Yeah.
And we live in London now, so if I was returning that, I would send. Where would I send that back to?
So London.
Would I take it back to a store in London, or could I send it back to the?
If they've got a Debenhams store in London, you
Yeah.
can take it back to there, yeah.
Right, or just.
I don't think they have one in London. No, they do. Oxford Street, yeah, they
pretty
do.
sure they have, yeah. So I've just been into Debenhams in Glasgow, and I have to say it was a pretty decent experience. I was looking for a gift for my daughters, and I ended up buying some makeup. I was actually looking for an alternative brand to Anastasia of Beverly Hills, which is a man who travels the world and always is told what makeup to bring back for his daughter. I knew that brand very well. I had a wee sneaky inclination that Debenhams might not stock that particular brand, so I was looking for an alternative. And I have to say the staff did a pretty good job of selling me on to another alternative brand. I also thought the staff knowledge around the customer experience around multi-channel and the multi-channel proposition was pretty good. What was slightly disappointing for me was visual merchandising around the store. I felt there was a lack of calls to action around bestsellers, around products that have just arrived that day. You know, really turn it up for me, give me more reason to want to buy there and then by shouting out different products. So I thought that was a wee bit lacking. Overall, I would give Debenhams 7 out of 10. Pretty good experience, but I felt there's a bit of room for improvement. I've been in Glasgow today to check out the customer experience in a number of establishments. I've tried swapping my phone in O2, seeing what it might be like as an experience to move from iPhone to Samsung or another brand, and also from my Network 3. I've bought shoes in Shoe. I bought makeup in Debenhams, not for myself, but for my daughter. In terms of the colleagues' knowledge within the places that I've been into, the knowledge around the multi-channel proposition was pretty good. I found that most of the colleagues in most of the environments didn't know whether there were any exclusive products that I could buy into. I found that the visual merchandising wasn't that strong in terms of the calls to action. I want to know about what's new, what are the best-selling lines, really inspire me, get me to make a purchase there and then. So I'd say visual merchandising was a letdown. I'd say that the staff generally in terms of their engagement was pretty strong. You'd expect Glaswegians like me to be pretty friendly, and they were, so they lived up to a reputation there. The one retailer that was a standout there was Shoe. Very clear proposition, buying online, ordering through the contact centre or in the multitude of stores or through their app for that matter. I've had a great time in Glasgow today and finding out how the Glaswegians deliver customer experience. It's been warm, it's been friendly and it's been engaging, but there's no question there's been some cash left on the table for opportunities they could have taken advantage of. I'm looking forward to going to Newcastle tomorrow and seeing how well the Geordies do. So my advice to O2, having just been mystery shopping their store in Glasgow, is that you need to make sure that all of your colleagues, when they hit the shop floor for the first time, have an appropriate level of product knowledge. I was served by a very friendly young lady, but she really didn't understand all the different tariffs. Not surprising really, given the complexity around a lot of tariffs within that sector, but she didn't understand them well enough to give me the appropriate level of advice. And it's even more frustrating given that there were two colleagues in the store, one of whom was the store manager, and she could easily have been shadowing them, learning from them as they were explaining to me what the best options for me were as a customer to switch my iPhone to a Huawei or a Samsung, and using the appropriate level of data and tariff that I was looking for. So that would be my main advice. I think it's about process, it's about product knowledge, and it's about making sure new colleagues are properly trained before you put them on the shop floor. Otherwise, like me, you're going to leave cash on the table because customers are going to walk out without a contract. So I'm now going to review the O2 website, and when I land on the home page, I can see on the left-hand side there's help me choose and help me find my ideal device and plan, which is great. That's exactly the sort of support I was looking for when I went into the store in Glasgow. So I'm going to click on that and see what I get. So let's find the device and plan that's right for you. So then if I key in phone with a monthly contract, pay as I go, tablet with a monthly contract, or SIM only, then it's going to start narrowing down my selection. I can see there's a progress bar on the bottom there, which is going to tell me how I'm getting on as I go. So that's really potentially really good as an experience. If I go back to the site, just initially when I land on the homepage, I'm not really clear what O2 is all about, what they stand for, what's their point of difference. There is a link that talks about why O2, and when I hover over that and I look at the categories or the links available underneath that, I can see about flexibility. There are lots of perks. I can get tickets to different events at the O2, for example, different services, keeping kids safe online, ideas and inspiration, and other links towards information around connection, but not anything obvious and compelling on the homepage as to why I would buy from O2 or become an O2 customer. When I click on shop, then there are a whole bunch of different links underneath on the drop-down menu that I can opt for to continue my journey. So I'm going to go to phones, and when I get to phones, I can then search if I already know exactly what I want, which is great. So hopefully that'll cut out a load of the stuff I need to go through. So I'm just going to go to iPhone, and I'm going to go for an XR. So I'm going to go for the latest model. Up comes the XR. Product information. Ask me if I'm looking for maybe a different iPhone model than the one I thought I was looking for, and then underneath that are the different options around paying monthly or paying as you go. So you can customize your plan as you go, and you can choose how much you're actually going to pay. This live chat button keeps getting in the way. I mean, it's great to have advice, but I'm actually trying to go on this journey myself at the moment, so I'm going to close that down. That's become a bit irritating. I want to add to how much I want to pay up front. I want a 36-month contract. Actually, I'd like a 24-month contract. I'm happy with 15 gigabytes of data, so I'm going to choose that plan. I'm going to see what comes back off the back of that. Tells me what my plan is, tells me how much I have to pay up front, what the monthly price is going to be, And the tariff, this is a bit ambiguous now. I'm not really sure whether this means that I'm going to be paying £51 a month because there's £31 for the phone and £26 for the tariff itself. It says offers are included, but I don't know what those offers are included actually are. Then it tells me I can set a spend cap, which actually I think I quite like, particularly if I was buying this for one of my daughters. I think I'd probably want to put a spend cap on it. I think one of the issues I'm experiencing with the site at the moment is it doesn't feel quite as intuitive as a retail website. And one of the things that I find with telecommunications brands is that although they would consider themselves to be retailers, the proposition I don't think comes across as a retail proposition. It's just that bit different. I know there's a complexity around the tariffs and everything else, but I think O2 and all the other telcos would do a really good job if they had a look at retailers and they thought about their websites and how they could make them appear more like retail websites. The reason why? Because consumers spend more time on retail websites than they do on telco websites. That would be my main feedback for O2. Given the experience I've had now, I give O2's website 6 out of 10. I think there's quite a lot of cash being left on the table because they could improve the journey and make it easier for people to buy. So my advice to Debenhams would be, please remove the Patisserie Valerie branding from the entrance to the store in Glasgow. That business is shut. Most consumers will know that. And when you walk into the store, it is a dead space, although the branding and everything's still there. I know that's a challenge. It's not an easy thing to do, but I think you need to address that. I also think you need to make sure that all of your colleagues in store know where your stores are, particularly given that you're closing some of them, which ones are going to remain open, and also what the multi-channel proposition is. And make sure you've got point of sale at the right places in the store to communicate what all the different ways are that customers can shop and engage with you, because I felt that that was a miss. So I'm now going to have a quick look at the Debenhams website. And as I look at the homepage of the website, I can see there's free standard delivery on orders over £50, free 2-day click and collect on orders £30 or over. That's a little bit ambiguous in the context of not being 100% sure. I'd have to click on that to get into the detail to understand exactly when my order would be dispatched to be picked up, or whether they're even fulfilling from the store for that matter. And then there's international delivery, which is interesting. It does tell me that Debenhams is under new ownership and trading as normal. Shop with confidence. All orders, returns, refunds and gift cards are being honoured. I think that's really important given what Debenhams has been through as a business recently, to reassure customers that if they buy something on the website right now, that order is going to be honoured. So I really like that. So if I go into one of the product categories, I'm going to go this time into women's. I'm going to go into tops. I can see that there's a significant number of tops, about 6,500 products. There are various filters on the left-hand side. I can start to narrow down by category: casual tops, partying, going out, smart tops, beach tops. I can filter by size. I can filter by style. So I'm going to go and have a look at lace tops, because I know that my daughter Antonia really likes lace tops. So let's go and have a look at what's in there. And I quite like the look of that black lace top on the right-hand side. I can see there's a discount, so quite a hefty discount. I can save 47%. The one thing I found actually whenever I've been selling online as a head of e-commerce in the brands I used to work for, is when you actually show a percentage discount, it's not as compelling as when you show how much the customer's going to save. And the reason for that is that people don't find it that easy actually just to work out what that discount is when you show the percentage. So my advice there would have been, to call out, save £11, now only £11.99. And I think that would have possibly had more of an impact. When I go into the product detail page, I can see there's a number of sizes not available anymore. That's a bit disappointing. Let's click on size 10. And I'm going to add that to bag. I can see actually while I'm on that page that I was able to collect up to 33 points with the Debenhams credit card. So that's interesting. There's a call to action there that if I use my Debenhams credit card when I get to the checkout, there's a benefit in that for me doing so. And arguably it's probably a reasonable call to action for customers that also don't have a Debenhams credit card to get one. So let's start that checkout process. It takes me to the bag. It tells me if I spend another £38, I get free standard delivery. So at least I know the proposition there, but it doesn't tell me what the actual service levels are behind delivery. You know, there's no incentive. So they might have a next day delivery that if I were to pay a premium, and if I'm in a real rush to buy that top, I might be prepared to pay a premium for delivery, that I could have that top delivered the next day. So I think there's a missed opportunity there. I'd say all in all, from my quick experience of the Debenhams website, they tick a lot of the boxes. I really like the messaging, providing customers with reassurance, and I would give them a score of 8 out of 10. So my advice to Schuh is that you need to make sure that all your colleagues in store have an appropriate level of product knowledge, because nobody seemed to be able to tell me whether or not you had any exclusive products. And given the sector and the segments that you're selling into, I would have thought that would be pretty important. So that'd be the primary recommendation. I also thought there was a lack of visual merchandising, so I'd look to have more point of sale that calls out exclusive products, that calls out new products, that calls out best sellers, because these are key drivers for consumers. One of the stores on Argyle Street had really great messaging in the window around all the ways that consumers could engage with Schuh online, through the app, through the contact centre, but that was missing in the Buchanan Street store. So for consistency, to make sure you've got the same messaging across all of the stores. Those would be my key messages of advice for Schuh. So I'm now going to review the website for Schuh, the footwear retailer. And as I look at the homepage of the website, the one thing that stands out for me right in the middle of the screen above the branding is live help. I think that tells you a lot about Schuh as a business. They're there to help. I'm not going to click on that at the moment. Looking at some of the other key messages on the homepage, I can get £1 next day delivery. That's a pretty compelling proposition. Students get 10% off, which is also a great proposition. And as I scroll down the website, there are various placeholders with product promotions, marketing messages, and so on. I'm going to go into the men's category. I'm going to go into boots, and I'm going to look at a product page. So if you give me a second. So having gone into Timberland and looking at this particular Timberland shoe, I've got all the sizing information there. Oh, I've got a live chat that's come in onto the page there. And actually that was a little bit intrusive. I'm not really ready for that yet. So live chat's a great thing, but I don't know that I needed that message at that moment in time. I'm looking for all the information around delivery and returns, and I can see that all that information is there. It tells me what the returns proposition is. It tells me I've got 365 days to return the shoes. That takes all the pressure away from buying from Schuh online. So let me pick my size, UK 9.5. I'm going to add to my bag, to my basket, and then it takes me straight to the basket. Not all websites do that, and that's quite nice. It takes me to the basket, and then I can see that I've got all the delivery methods or delivery options and service levels available, which is really important. It's really important that you tell consumers at that stage in the journey, you know, exactly what the delivery options are and when they're going to receive their order. So I can then select that and then proceed to the checkout. The one thing the shopping bag doesn't do is it doesn't cross-sell. I'm just going to go back to the product page for a second to recheck that. And interestingly, there's no cross-selling going on there. I mean, Schuh essentially is a shoe retailer, but I would have thought there could be some accessories, shoe protection products maybe that they might be able to sell me, spare pairs of laces. I don't know. It's maybe not as obvious as it would be in an apparel retailer. All in all, I'd say Schuh is a pretty good customer experience and a hard one to beat. And I'm going to give them, from my particular experience just now, 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching this episode of my secret shopping experience in Glasgow.